You ready to hike? Yeah, she's ready.
The better question was, were we ready? We came out to Fernie, British Columbia in the mid-August heat to hike Heiko's Trail, a short 24-kilometer jaunt. We intended to do this hike over 3 days just to allow us ample time to enjoy the scenery, and then we were going to spend a couple of nights in a lodge and head out again for a 6-day adventure in Assiniboine. But in the end, we didn't even go to Assiniboine. The weather of the Rockies just did not cooperate and became the deciding factor. Here's what happened.
Made it to the trailhead for Heiko's Trail. There we are.
It started out just fine. The air was smoky from all the forest fires burning in and around BC, but after months of endless forest fires, we were used to breathing it in. The worst part about it was just that it blocked our view of the mountains, which would have otherwise been very imposing and very beautiful. For the first leg up to the cave, the route had its moments of being steep, but the trail was easy to follow and not technically difficult. There was a waterfall on the way up and water available at the cave as well. We had our Karelian bear dog Yoki with us on a leash. We had mixed information about whether or not dogs were actually allowed on Heiko's Trail, but given that part of the trail is within Mount Fernie Provincial Park, where dogs are allowed on leash, and with Island Lake Lodge being the pet-friendly hotel at the end of the trail, the consensus seemed to be that leash dogs were okay. When we made it to the cave, we were surprised at the size of it. I hadn't really looked at photos in advance, so I didn't know what to expect, but I can tell you that seeing the entrance in person is the only way to do it justice. The cave was where we stopped for a hot lunch and briefly debated camping there just for the novelty of it. But we didn't see many options for tenting and instead opted to continue to get closer to the Three Sisters. In terms of technical difficulty or sketchiness, I believe the section between the cave and Mount Bizarro is most likely to give hikers pause. Steepness aside, there are some parts of the path where if you were to make a significant mistake, like lose your footing and tumble a few feet sideways without being able to catch yourself, you would be in serious trouble. I don't think there's actually much risk, but if you're afraid of heights, you might struggle here. There's Mount Bizarro. A little obscured by smoke, but very cool. Now, back here, I believe that one you can see silhouetted in smoke there is one of the Three Sisters. We're not going to do that today, but we're going to probably camp somewhere in front of there and then go on there tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit nicer. We'll be able to see more. Although it is supposed to rain tomorrow. Not just rain, torrents of rain that would not stop for a full 24 hours. But at this time, we were oblivious to the updated forecast. We were just expecting a sprinkle. Hey Yoki, let's see you.
Smuggler. Good job, Yoki.
It has been raining so much, we have a literal flood under our tent. Quick.
Good morning.
Good morning. What a wonderful day. This is where our tent was. was ours. When yours is still in the puddle.
My sleeping bag got wet through our ultralight tent, and while our bags were dry, eventually just from the sheer amount of water, everyone was wet by the late afternoon. Once we made it to the pass aptly named Windy Pass, the rain turned to snow, and the wind gusted hard enough that our hands started to get the early stages of frostbite. One of our companions was having severe stomach issues from antibiotics, and my wife stoically carried his pack for many kilometers. It was a bit harrowing for a while, but eventually we made it to Island Lake Lodge and the end of the trail.
The other part of this story is we arrived here cold, shivering, and we were a day early, so we didn't have a booking at our lodge. So we got to the lodge and we initially asked if they have any vacancy for one extra night. They didn't have anything. So we're sitting there outside. I'm shivering so much I can barely even use my phone. I called 4 different hotels that were pet friendly because we have our dog with us, and not a single one of them had any vacancy. So they see us here struggling outside. They kind of ask us what our situation is. We had one vehicle here that can't fit all of us because there's 6 of us and a dog and all of our bags. We have another vehicle at the other end of the trail where we started, which is really rough logging road, which has now had 55 millimeters of rain dumped on it. So there's no way we can get our vehicle back, not yet. And we can't drive everyone into town anyway. So they definitely took pity on us, and we're very grateful for that. Island Lake Lodge, they gave us, they found a room that wasn't being rented out at this time, but they got it ready for us. They got 2 rooms ready for us, actually, threw a cot in there, and it was great.
Oh my goodness, who is that?
Hi. Hi. Hi, girl. Did you have fun?
So in the end, we were able to dry out all of our gear at the hotel, and we could have gone to Assiniboine, but we looked at the weather forecast there, and each day we checked it, the weather just got worse. The lows were in the negative double digits, highs of +1, with lots of rainfall warnings and heavy snow. My knee was giving me grief from the hike, and all of our hands were still feeling somewhat frostbitten. Ultimately, it just seemed like the weather was going to make the trip to Assiniboine a potentially risky slog. So we resigned ourselves to canceling all of our Assiniboine bookings that we made a year ago and heading home. But we made sure to enjoy our time at Island Lake Lodge. They genuinely served the best food we've ever eaten at a restaurant, and the setting was among the most picturesque places you could ever stay at. Coincidentally, it was also the most picturesque place you could ever play Magic the Gathering at with your good friends.
Anyway, we'll get that guy out, and then I'm sure we'll see the creek.
We even stopped to camp on the drive home and had a gorgeous lake all to ourselves. So yes, missing out on Assiniboine this year felt like a bit of a gut punch, but it can always be rebooked. It's really in our backyard here in BC. And also, yes, Heiko's trail threw us a curveball with the rain and the snow and the wind. But honestly, when we look back at the last 12 years of backpacking trips, the stories we tell the most are the mishaps, the hikes that went awry. We're happy to add this one to the list.